2 weeks they're getting always going skittish. That's common. In 1 or 2 weeks I still don't know them. They come now to eat when I call them, which is great. How long should I wait before handling them? You should have been handling them from the day you got them.
Okay.
If you want to calm them down, when you're feeding them, don't be afraid to almost force them to come to you.
Okay.
You throw a few grains, and then eventually you'll be able to handle them.
Okay.
Are we on TV yet? Oh, okay.
I'm gonna close your.
That's TV.
Did it catch?
You should have, yeah.
Okay. Should I go?
Oh, we're ready. Are
Yeah.
we? No? We're
Yeah,
on.
We're on.
Hi, folks.
Good afternoon. Hope everybody's having a great Friday. My name is Gina. This is my dad, Jerry. Y'all can't see, but Veronica is behind the scenes as always. Today will be our 9th show. I know last week we said was our 9th show, but that was a little mistake that somebody made. But today is our 9th show.
If somebody's me. Go ahead. Make fun of me.
I'm not making fun of you. I'm just.
Might as well name names.
Anyways, the catalogs. A lot of people have been requesting catalogs on Facebook. If you could just call us to request the catalog, because a lot of times if you ask for a catalog and you're not in our system, we don't have your address, or there may be 5 people with the same name as you and we don't know which one you are. So if you've requested one on Facebook and we did not say that we sent you one, please just give us a call and ask us to send you a catalog, and it won't be a problem. They're free and we'll just send it out that same day.
Phone number?
724-843-6889. Also, our normal operating hours are Monday through Friday from 9 to 5 Eastern. But this month we will be having our spring open house. We will be open on a Saturday. It will be on April 21st. We'll be here from 9 to 3 Eastern. So feel free to come in, join us, shop around. And if we'd like you to pre-order, that way we can have your order ready in case we have an influx of people. But you can also add to your order once you get here. So if you want, just give us a call. You can give us a call anytime between now and then and place the order, and we'll have the bulk of your order ready for you.
Will you be signing autographs?
I will be.
Okay.
Will you as well?
No. They don't want my autograph, they want yours.
Also, the sooner you call, if we don't have a product, it's a better chance of us getting it in by the time that date gets here. So today on the show, we're going to talk about the different types of traps and how to use them, and we will also talk about the pieces to the traps if you want to make your own trap. What else? Oh. If there's anything that you'd like us to discuss on the show, just send us an email, post it on Facebook, call us and ask us. We're willing to talk about anything. Just give us your give us your opinion, give us your suggestions, and
any way we can make the show better. All right.
And we'll feel free to talk about that item, that product, whatever it is you want us to talk about. And if there's any way that we can make the show better, we're what's the word?
Excluding getting somebody else to do it. You're stuck with us.
Constructive criticism is what I was looking for. But yeah, any way we can make the show better. Even if it's with me being off the show, I'm for it. Anyways, so other than the traps today, we always take questions. So whatever you have a question about, whether it's the traps, anything, we'll answer your questions. We may not get to all your questions on the show, but we will answer them. And last week at the end of the show, we had some technical difficulties. The video cut off, but there was a question about the white dove release business in regards to our supplies and bird sales. So Jerry started talking about it, but it cut off, so he's going to start the program today with answering that question.
Can I start with something else
Sure,
before that?
whatever
Okay.
you want.
What I wanted to mention is we've had 3 groups of people here this week driving in from Baltimore, and I asked them how long the drive it was, and they said it was only 5 hours. So if you want to come and you're from Baltimore, that area, it's only 5 hours away. But what I was going to mention was 2 of the groups from Baltimore came to my lofts, and you're welcome to do that too, but that's by appointment only. They all handled the birds, and I couldn't help but mention this. And they wanted to know, how in the heck do I get these birds in such good condition? And want me to watch the camera?
You're looking
Oh,
over here.
okay. We're real professional. If this is your first show that you've watched, you should have seen us 9 weeks ago. We're doing great now. Oh, and I wanted to mention, I get off on tangents. I asked Veronica, how many views have we had? And it's just amazing. Right now, we're at about 10,100 views. To me, that's just crazy, that many people watching this show, but we're so appreciative. But getting back to the condition and the feather, we were there today at my loft, 3 folks, 3 brothers in fact, from Baltimore, and the birds were almost slippery. The feather was so soft and smooth, when you hold them, the bird felt slippery. I was sharing with them what I do, and what I told the other folks is I use a product, and I've talked about it before. It's called Ultra Pro. The reason I wanted to talk about it was, number one, to keep in mind that Ultra Pro is not a medicine. It's basically a conditioner, vitamins, and a probiotic. And don't expect results if you use it once or twice a week. Don't expect results if you use it after 2 or 3 weeks, you see no difference at all. It's a long-term process. I give Ultra Pro to my birds 7 days a week, unless I'm medicating or treating something else, but every day, Ultra Pro in the water. And that's how I've got my birds into great condition. They don't fly. Most of them are in a loft with an aviary, but they don't fly, and they still are in great shape. So, I was going to talk about the white bird release business.
Before you do
Yes.
that, you was talking about the people coming from Baltimore.
Mhm.
That's pretty much why we opened it up on the Saturday. We had, it's actually a club from Baltimore that was talking about coming up, and we just said we would open up a Saturday and then open it up to everyone. I know a lot of people can't come during the week during work, so we did decide to open it on a Saturday if you're able to come.
And if I'm thinking about Louisville, at the Louisville show, they actually have a bus that comes from the Michigan area to the show in Louisville. So if you've got a club like Gina was just mentioning, and you'd like to come as a group, you can walk across the street to a real nice restaurant, and you can stay on the same property, and next to our property is another restaurant, a grill. So if you'd like to make a day of it, we'd love to hear from you. And if you're going to bring a big group, we want to know, because everybody that comes gets a $100 bill. And I assure you, we want to have enough money, don't we? The only thing difference in the money is my picture is there instead of Washington, right?
$10.
Oh, it's a $10 bill. I'll give them 10 of them. We make as many as we want. Okay. And talking about white bird releases. Number one, we do them on a regular basis. It's a little bit seasonal. We've already done one this year, but generally the white bird release business starts right around April in this weather. And if you're in warm weather, you'll get it pretty much year round. A lot of people mistakenly think that the white dove release business is for weddings. And you're going to find out if you do it, you're going to do about 10 funerals to every wedding. If I had my druthers, we probably wouldn't even do weddings, because you're asking for disaster in a way, if the bird poops at the wrong time. But you have little control over it. You might try to plan it, but it's the greatest day in the life of that bride. and she has her own ideas as to what's going to make the wedding perfect. So you may have thought you're going to release the birds at the church, but Lord knows she may say, well, you know what would be a great idea? Let's go where we're going to get our pictures taken, and we'll do the release there. Or it just may take time. You all know, you've all been to a reception, and you wait at the reception for the bride to come back. And if that's where we're supposed to be, where all the crowd can see it, well, heck, we might be there an hour or 2 hours. Time is money. With the funeral business, number one, if you're fortunate enough to know some funeral directors, they make it a part of their whole package. They pay you, and they collect from the deceased family. And the other great thing is you're only there for about a half an hour to an hour because it's set. You're going to the cemetery, and after the pastor speaks or the eulogies are made, they will tell us to release the birds, and that's when we do it. Just to give you an idea, this white bird, white dove release business, which is really white racing homers, is just absolutely exploding. And if you're thinking about getting into it, it's not, well, I'm going to get into the business today and I'm going to start releasing birds. It takes time. Number one, you've got to have the white birds. You may already have them and trained, but most people who don't get into it, you have to figure, if you decided today, you won't be in the business for probably 6 months, because number one, you've got to obtain the birds, and number two, if you're going to raise them, you've got to raise them. Then you've got to train them, and we're going to be talking about that a little bit. You train them to come through the trap. Then once they come through the trap, you've got to start putting them into baskets, and I take them down maybe 50 feet the first time, but you build it out. And it's a little bit different than when people are racing pigeons, because when you race pigeons, they're always coming back in the same direction. In our area, we take them west and they fly east, back to our lofts. But in the white dove release business, it's 4 different directions. You don't know where your next customer is going to be. So you have to train your birds from the northeast, south, and west. And that's just a little bit different. It's not a lot harder, but it's more time consuming. So if you're going to take them, for instance, a mile, their first mile race, you take them a mile, and you're west, and then you go the next direction, and then the next direction, till you get all 4 directions trained, and then you're going to go 5 miles, and you've got to do 5 miles in all 4 directions. So it is time consuming. Tell them a little bit about the book, the white dove release business. You know a little bit about the book.
White Pigeons, The Color of
Yeah,
Money?
yeah. Don't forget to mention the author.
White Pigeons, The Color of Money. Jerry did write the book. That was your first book that you wrote, right?
Second.
Second?
Yeah, I wrote Lofts of North America.
That was your second book, The Lofts.
What?
Anyways,
Okay.
White Pigeons, The Color of Money was the first book that he wrote. It just talks about the white dove release, anywhere from the baskets to training the pigeons to different things you need to know in the white dove release business.
And I should have called it White Pigeons for Dummies. What I mean by that is we have people who buy the book, not that they're in the business, that people who have never had pigeons before. It's just written for somebody who knows nothing about pigeons. And so it's very, very basic. So if you're watching it, and maybe you're just watching it for the first time or just getting into pigeons, it's a good primer, a good starter book to answer questions. Basically, you don't even know to ask. So I tell people, especially if you're getting into the business, get a little book like that, and a lot of questions would be answered, but also it'll save you a lot of money, because if you train incorrectly, you're going to lose pigeons. If you feed incorrectly, you could end up with sick pigeons. So like anybody getting into a business, it's a business. Study it, learn as much about it as you possibly can. Okay, I'm ready to move on if you are.
Yep. I think we should talk about the pieces first.
When we talk about traps, what we mean is how to teach your bird and the mechanisms and the equipment you're going to need to train pigeons. We're not talking about a trap where you catch them. This is a trap where you train them to go in and out of the loft. So the first, we're going to talk about this so that they can understand what this is. We sell, this is just called a standard heavy-duty trap, made in America. In fact, we make these ourselves. Here again, when I say ourselves, they're made for us. We're so fortunate. We have a gentleman that works for us. He's an Amish man, and all he does for us, work for us full-time. He makes all of our wood products and most of our metal products. So this is a basic trap. This comes in 3 sizes?
4.
What are the sizes, you remember?
6 by 12, 12 by 12, 18 by 12, and 24 by 12.
Okay, so they come in 4 different sizes. If you only have a few birds, 3, 4 birds, half a dozen birds, then the 6 by 12, half this size is fine. This is great for a flock of 20 or 30 birds. And the way it works, it's pretty basic. What you're looking at right now from this angle is the birds landing on the platform when they come home and walking into the trap. And I told you wrong. This is the way it looks from the outside. They come in and they push these bobs and they drop in. Now, if you expect your birds to do it the first time without any problem, you're mistaken. They have to be trained because they see these and they see these as a wall. They have absolutely no idea that they can come through it, so you have to train them. So what you do initially is lift the bobs, and you can see there's a piece right here that turns. I'm trying to do it the opposite way. There it goes. They drop right down. So what I do when I first start training my babies, I'm talking about now, the young birds, is I'm on the inside of the loft. This is the outside of the loft. Did I do that right? Okay. And you put your birds outside onto the aviary.
This will be turned around if you're on the inside.
Or, don't mind me folks, and I use these. So they're going to come in. What you should have been doing before you start using this trap is just leave it this way. And your birds will learn to go in and out. And I keep it all enclosed with wire. It's called an aviary. This is called the landing board. So they're used to going this way. And when I want to train them to the bobs, I drop it down and it's this way. Now, that day I'm going to train them. It's usually in the morning. They haven't eaten or drank since yesterday. So I know they're hungry. I know they're thirsty. Open it. And what I've done, and I know I'm kind of bouncing around, but it's coming back to me as I do it, is I clap my hands. Every time I go into the loft, I want those birds to go outside. They can't fly. There's an aviary over this wire. So they go out. And I don't drop it. I just go out, and then when they're all outside, or I gently put some outside, I clap my hands. That tells them it's time to come in. And after you've done that a few times, because they're hungry, they just walk through, drop in, and eat. Then maybe the 3rd or 4th day, 5th day, now you're going to get some that are stupid, or maybe just plain stubborn, and they don't want to come in. So I'm going to gently push them in. They have to learn that. So maybe 4 or 5 days where I feel they're coming in, going out, I then clap my hands and they're outside. I drop it. They're hungry. They're thirsty. They can't get in unless they come through here. And what happens is a few of them learn real quick, and then the others see them coming through and they'll follow them. Pigeons are followers. Most are not leaders. One other little trick that you can do is after you've trained the birds to come in with it open, and you've got all of your babies outside, I will put an adult bird outside. It's hungry too. And it's already been trained to the trap, so it'll come through. If the babies see it, follow the leader, they'll come through. You've got to train them to this trap before you start training them down the road, so to speak, and taking them away from the loft. Have I missed anything? Okay. So I like the trap. These are aluminum, lightweight bobs. This is all aluminum with composite corners, so it'll last you a lifetime. So in talking about the individual parts, This is called a lift bar. We don't sell as many of these, but we do. If you want to make your trap, you absolutely have to have one of these. And what that is this piece right here. It holds the bars up. If you didn't have this, you'd have to try to pick them all up one at a time. It doesn't work. So this is a lift rod. And we sell them in specific sizes that fit the traps that we make. But we will make custom ones for you. So if you need something different, you tell us what you want and we can have it made for you. But you have to allow a week or so for that to happen. So this is the American-made bob. I'm sorry, it's the American-made bob. We call it Foy's bobs, made all of lightweight aluminum, and the Amish gentleman, John Raber, makes these for us. And they come in different lengths, do they not?
9.5 inch and 12.5 inch.
Okay, this is a 12.5 inch one if you want a bigger one. Although, in my opinion, this height is perfect for racing pigeons and even rollers and tipplers. Now this, a lot of people when they order bobs individually to make their own trap, sure they're going to order as many as they want, and in the catalog it gives you the measurements, and they're going to order this, and then we try to explain that they need a spacer. You may not be looking at this and you say to yourself, what do I need a spacer for? Well, this is the spacer. It's this one right here. Because if you took this away and you put a bob here, it would rub against the side. Real professional, huh? Rub against the side and get stuck. So you need one spacer for every trap.
Right.
So, okay. Now, if you want to make your own, Gina's handling this, there are different diameter rods. This takes this rod, if I remember right, it's quarter 3/8. It doesn't matter. We know which one it is if you order. So you can see how easy that swings on this rod. It's made for this. So this is to fit a 12-inch trap. If you need one longer, we can make them, here again, just about any size that you want. But going past 24 or 30 inches, eventually you're going to have some movement, and that wouldn't be a good idea. So every time you want to build your own trap, you have to order a cross rod. You have to order an extra spacer or a spacer. You need to order these, and in the catalog it gives you the measurements, so you can figure out how many you need. Now,
and here's the lock.
Yeah, and we also have the latch.
The lift bar up or down.
You can buy it at a hardware store, but if you need them, they're not that easy to find anymore. They're called bow ties. So if you go into a hardware store, you'll find these there. We buy them by the hundreds, probably 1,000 at a time. So the price we get is pretty good. So you'll see a reasonable price, and of course it screws in. Okay. Now we also sell
USA.
the USA bob. This is made by us also. It's just some people like this over others. I don't have to go through everything again, but this is a different diameter than the other rod. If I tried to use this rod, it wouldn't work. Now, a lot of people can find rod in your own area, but if you can't, we have it. So here again, go through there. Now, when you buy these, generally speaking, you don't need a spacer, but if you did need a spacer, you can always use this. It moves easily, and you don't really care that it's there. It's against the wood here, and it won't tie this one up. So they don't make a special one for this particular bob. So here again, the pieces and parts are available from Foy's. Then the last one is what we call
Belgium.
the Belgian bob. These, guess where these are made? Called the Belgian bob. Where are they made?
Belgium.
They come from Belgium. All right, so this is a T-rod. This is plastic. The rod is put in, and it won't come off. I think it's soft plastic, and it's put in when it hardened. Same thing. So I don't have to go through that. But if you need a lift rod and so forth, you can get them from us. But the lift rods and so forth are exactly the same. We don't have a different lift rod.
Right.
For every trap. All of the lift rods are the same size. So, let's show them the different traps that we have. We showed them the 12 by 12.
That's the aluminum.
Yep. This is the one I started out with. This is the 12 by 24. I dropped my watch, I'm sorry. There you go. This is how it
wood frame.
Yeah, in the wood frame. And John really, you know what? I just thought of something. Would you continue talking about it? You get the next one. I want to go get something. I'll be right back. Go ahead. You've got some more. You can talk about it.
Okay. Okay, so once again, the first one was the aluminum. Those come in 4 sizes. And this one is the wood trap. These also come in the same 4 sizes as the aluminum. And this one has the foils bobs on it. This is the Belgian bob trap, the one with the T on the top, the plastic bob. These are also made by John. Although we buy the bobs overseas, he still makes the trap. These only come with the wood frame, and this comes in 2 sizes. I don't remember the 2 sizes, but they are in the catalog. If you have any questions on the traps, feel free to call us, look on our website, or look in the catalog. Once again, any wood products that you need can be custom made. You have to give us the dimensions, any size you need on the traps, and you need to give us a couple weeks notice before you need it, because we do get several calls for custom items, and it takes John a couple weeks to make them. Not to mention, he doesn't have a phone, so I have to call and leave a message to a local phone, and then once he gets the message, he has to give me a call back. So it could take a couple days before I get back to you with any prices on custom products. But feel free to call and get some prices on custom products. And if you want to order them, let us know. We'll be happy to help you out with that.
Good job. You all through?
No.
Okay. What I had to go get, and I'll show it to you, is the live trap. It was over there. I had to go get it.
Okay.
This is called a Belgian drop trap. And I get more questions on how to use this one than any other trap that we sell. But it was designed in Belgium. I have it upside down. Okay. If you were if the pigeons were coming in, this is the front as you're looking at it from the outside.
No.
Yes.
This is on the inside of the loft.
Yeah, I know that. But I'm saying if you're on the landing board, the birds walk over the top.
Yes,
okay?
yes. Okay, we're on the same page.
We're on the same page. All right. So what's nice about this one is the birds do not have to be trained to push bobs in. It makes it much easier. It's what I used when I was racing, and I still have them in my lofts. Not all the lofts, I have 5 lofts. But the whole idea in this one was that some people have birds that are bob scared. They hit the bob. They're afraid to come through, even though they've been trained. Maybe something scared them, and they'll hesitate before they'll push through, and sometimes they won't push through. Here, all they do is walk over, see, okay, and drop through this hole. All right. Now, keep in mind, you're outside looking at the front of the loft, and this is what you would see. This is the back. Now, reverse your thought if that's possible. This, here again, is in the locked position. And the question you should have is, okay, how do they get out? They can't fly up through here. The whole idea is there's no ledge behind here, so how do they get out? People say, well, won't they get out here? No, they can't, because if there's no place for them to land inside, their wings are open, they can't get out. But it's like I say, it trains them to drop right in. It's so much easier. But how do you let them out? You unhook this, it drops down. The chain holds it in that place. And remember, I told you clap your hand. When I walk into a loft, open it up, clap my hands, and away they go. And then when they're all out and flying, I just lock it again. Thank you. Put that there, and it's locked. So this is the Belgian bob trap. The big advantage is there are no bobs to scare them. And then of course the question we receive is, well, won't wild animals just get up there? To be frank, and I've never had it happen. I don't put a board in or anything, but if you have a raccoon or a hawk problem where they might get in, this comes with it. Drops right down. It's closed from the outside. They can't get in. Okay? Now, if you have any questions, call forward. I'll be glad to explain it a little bit better. I hope I've explained it enough. But as I said, this is the most confusing one. And they come in 2 sizes. Do they not?
3.
3 sizes.
There's a 4-hole, a 5-hole, and a 6-hole.
Okay. Now, do we have another trap we're going to talk about?
Yeah, let's answer a question first, though.
Okay.
Dwayne asked, I have a couple of bars with yellow and green runny droppings.
Okay, I guess it's sometimes difficult when I get a simple question like that, because if you were emailing me, or if I was calling you or you calling me, I'd have to ask you some questions. So here he says he has 2. If it's only 2, whenever you have 6 birds, first thing you want to do is segregate them. Get them the heck out of that loft, because they're going to pass on most diseases through the water or droppings or interaction when the birds are fighting. But the simple answer to that is if they're watery, light green, is that correct? Mm-hmm. You probably have one of 2 things. My first guess would be coccidiosis. And if coccidiosis is very common in pigeons, the droppings are usually lime green, and occasionally you'll see some blood. That's coccidiosis. Do you remember the coccidiosis medicine?
Mm-hmm. Aviocox, Coxicide,
Corid. So we have
a lot of different medicines.
There's a reason we have many different Corid medications. It's because with coccidiosis, did I say the right thing, or did I say
you
wrong?
said Corid, coccidiosis.
With coccidiosis, they develop a resistance very quickly, and they also reinfect themselves because coccidiosis lives in the intestines. It's almost like a bug, and when they pass their droppings, there's cocci in it, and they pick it right back up. So when you treat for coccidiosis, number 1, the day after you treat, and every day, depending on what you're using after you treat, you should clean the floor. Get that cocci out of there. And developing a resistance very quickly, you'll find that you have to switch back and forth with medicines, because if you use the same medicine all the time, they're going to develop a resistance to that drug and it won't work. And is that pretty much handled then? Mm-hmm. Okay. Thanks for the question. What was your name?
Well, you said it could be one of 2 things.
Okay. And the second thing it possibly could be would be E. coli. Every living animal in the world, including us as humans, have E. coli. It's in our system. And generally speaking, it's absolutely no problem at all. But when it does become a problem, and usually is a problem because of, I shouldn't say that, it usually is a problem because something else is affecting the birds. It's called secondary infection. So you may want to send the droppings into Foy's, or your local veterinarian would be much quicker. And we have a veterinarian that looks at the droppings and will tell us, and we tell you what the problem is and what to medicate with. But E. coli is very easy to get rid of. Almost every medication that treats paratyphoid also treats E. coli. So whether it's cocci or E. coli, I'm not sure. Once again, if you want to send the droppings into Foy's, you can do that, or call and ask Foy's. Call and ask Sherry at Foy's, and she'll give you the whole procedure to do it. So cocci and E. coli are both easy to diagnose. If I were going to do anything, the first thing I think I'd do is use 3-in-1. 3-in-1 treats canker, coccidiosis, and worms, because we don't know exactly what the problem is. We're just guessing. So if you try 3-in-1, it would probably clear up the problem, but maybe not. So if you are convinced it's either E. coli or cocci, and I think it's one of those 2, you can call and order 2 separate drugs, one for cocci and one for E. coli. coccidiosis, I don't want to get terribly complicated. Coccidiosis, as I said, is not a disease, it's a bug. So when you're treating for E. coli, you need a medicine that won't help cocci, but it will take care of E. coli. That's a bacterial infection. Being a bacterial infection, you need an antibiotic. So if you call the store, you can order a cocci medicine, coccidiosis, try it. If it doesn't work, then you can call and order an antibiotic. But it seems to me both of them are good to have in the loft all the time. And if you order them individually, you're going to pay double postage. After either one of those products, if you remember at the beginning of the show, I talked about Ultrapro. You've got to follow any antibiotic with a probiotic. Ultrapro will help them regain their strength. Ultrapro has a probiotic in it. It's a great product to follow any medication. Another question?
Yes, Eddie asked, he said he's new at this. He just got some young birds. They're not quite 2 months old. He's had them about 2 weeks. Are they always going to be skittish? They now come to eat when I call them. How long should I wait before handling them?
Okay. The fact that they're coming right to you when you call them, that's great. You've got them on the right path to training correctly. But you should have started handling the bird the day you got them, because they get used to that. And in trying to handle birds, you've got to be very, very calm. I'm not that kind of person. I'm skittish, so I have a hard time calming my birds down because I'm not calm. But you've got to take time with them. And when you feed the birds, as you mentioned, they'll pretty much eat out of your hand if you keep it up. And when you start, they've got to be hungry. You don't put feed out there and let them fill their bellies up and then expect them to eat out of your hand. But I've trained my birds over time, if I want. I put the feed on the floor and I just throw it on the floor or on a tray and let them eat it while I'm sitting there or scooting down or on my knees watching them. And it takes a little while. They'll come and eat the feed with me there because they're hungry. Then after 3 or 4 or 5 days of that, then what I do is I put the feed down, but just a little in front of them, and then I put most of it in my hand and let it sprinkle onto the floor. And what they'll do is they'll come in, grab one seed and go away, grab a seed and go away. But if you keep doing that, pretty soon they'll be all over you. And then what I do is I keep the feed and I don't let any sprinkle. They'll actually jump on my hand and I'll slowly lift them up and they'll fly away. But through that process, then the next step is if you've done it correctly, remember starting them hungry, you'll eventually be able to pick them up. No big deal, they're not afraid of you at all. But it takes time and it takes patience. Anything else you can think of? Okay. We have a question up there?
Yes.
Okay.
Hi, Graumas. Graumas asked, is it illegal to kill a Cooper's hawk?
Yes. It's illegal in the United States to kill any hawk or any eagle. But what I did, I had a serious problem, and it isn't always as easy as it was for me. I called the game commissioner, and they sent somebody down to talk to me, and I showed them my loft, and I explained the hobby. I told them those birds are anywhere, they could be anywhere from $10 to $500 each. They're very expensive, but it's my hobby. What do I do? The hawks are killing my birds. Now, he was very understanding. He said, Jerry, he says, it's against the law. He says, but I can see where your problem is and what the issue is. And what I don't know, he says, no, keep this under your hat. But what I don't know won't hurt me. So if you get rid of the hawks, then I don't know about it. Get rid of them however you want. But he says, if a neighbor or anybody calls me and complains, I'm going to have to pay you a visit. And of course, if I pay you a visit, you're not going to be in the process of getting rid of a hawk at that particular moment, but I'm going to have to give you a warning, and that'll be the end of that. But legally, you cannot shoot a hawk, you can't trap a hawk, you can't poison a hawk or an eagle. Thank Kramas. Kramas is an old friend of mine. I talked to him yesterday. In fact, he was so kind enough to give me some rollers yesterday. And for your own information, Kramas, I don't have any of them left. They're all gone. we've had with me, I've had a great week on shipping pigeons. I don't know what happened. All of a sudden, I think the word's getting out that when we ship pigeons, we ship what we tell you we're going to ship. We guarantee they get there alive, and they're good quality birds. We sell white racing pigeons. We sell white young racing pigeons, so we sell breeders and babies. We sell rollers, and we sell colored homers, which are pretty but not real good racing, and we sell top quality racing pigeons. So if you're looking for some good pigeons, give me a call. Call me at Foy's, and they'll give you my home phone, and we can discuss it and go over how to ship the birds. The birds all go through the mail.
Right. Another thing, if you're going to come to if you're going to come here, when was it? April 21st on Saturday when we're open, and you're thinking about getting pigeons from Jerry, you need to call him ahead of time so he knows that he has pigeons available for you.
And you would be invited out of my loft. But the main reason that we need you to call is I have to clean my lofts before you get there. Well, you know, I sweep the floors and clean the loft and clean the perches. You know, well, it's just like a woman. If company's coming, what do? They clean the house, you know, no dishes in the sink, and I sweep the floor.
Right.
Well, pigeons, I have to do the same thing.
But really the main reason is because he gets calls every day for people that want to buy pigeons, and he may not have the color or whatever that you may want. So
we had 3 people today that bought some birds from, as I mentioned, Baltimore. They were here, and they went to my lofts first. The lofts are 15 minutes from the store, so it's easy to go back and forth.
Right. Another question from Lisa. How are the hawks where you live?
Bad, and badder, if there's such a word. They're bad all over the United States. But they're in the process now, especially in Michigan. That's a fly zone. They're migrating south, and so we're into the worst of it right now. But in another few weeks, you'll still have hawks and eagles because they're territorial. But you'll have a lot less problem. Right now, every day there's hawks that are hungry flying through and looking at your birds. I usually don't let my birds go from somewhere around October to the end of April, but we do have to let my white birds go, so we let them go, but I stagger the times. I never let them go at the same time because the hawks time it. If you let them go at 7 o'clock every morning, at 6:30 that hawk's going to be in a tree waiting for lunch or breakfast, so stagger the times you let them go.
Another question. What is the cause for pigeons throwing up and a lot of them died?
That's an easy one. In fact, the gentleman, I think it was Fred, I told him we'd be on the show and ask me about it again. It's adenovirus, almost always adenovirus. It's definitely a virus. Adeno does make them vomit. The problem is, being a virus, there's absolutely no treatment for it at all. It's so discouraging. You can see a bird that's perfectly healthy one day, and you go into the loft, and it's dead the next day. They die within 24 hours. Sometimes they linger a little bit longer. The only things you can do is to strengthen the bird immune system to allow them to have a better chance of fighting it off. There is no treatment to make it go away, but there's a product called Viromune, which is a powder that's put in the water. It's in water or feed. But anyways, it's a powder that will help strengthen their immune system. And there's also a product called AdenoZap, ADENOZAP, goes in the drinking water. Here again, its main source, its main reason is to build the immune system. I have a good friend, Mike Owens, and Mike and Shirley. They're the ones that sell boxes for birds. If you want good quality boxes, and we don't have them, call Mike. But Mike had lost, because of a lot of birds, he lost nearly 1,000 birds to that particular disease. And AdenoZap didn't work with him. Viromune didn't work. Somebody suggested NutriDrops, and it was amazing. He said the day he started using NutriDrops, the dying pretty much stopped. Bird returned to good health. So there are some suggestions on when you have a bird that is throwing up and dying very, very quickly.
Next question. I have a bird that don't look sick, but he won't eat the past 2 days. Any ideas? Droppings are solid but green.
It's a difficult one. If I had to guess, it's certainly a bacterial infection with the solid green droppings like that, but it could be almost anything. Once again, when you have sick pigeons, isolate them, get them into a separate building if at all possible to help try to prevent it from moving through the whole flock. When I don't know what the problem is, and based on a little bit of information you're giving me, I would put them on amoxicillin. It's a powder that goes in the drinking water, and go at least 2 weeks, 14 to 21 days. Even if they look better after a week, go at least 2 weeks to make sure it's out of their system. Follow it with a good probiotic. Where were we before?
The traps.
Oh, the trap. We're all done
We
with
have
the
one
trap.
more.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to tell you a story. It seems like we're talking about Baltimore so much today, but Mike Fitzgerald was here. I hope I can use his name. Tony. But he goes by Will. Doesn't matter. Mr. Fitzgerald was here. He's a distributor of ours, by the way. If you're thinking about getting into the business, the pigeon supply business, we wholesale to just about every supplier in the United States. But you have to have a tax ID number and so forth. It isn't just buying products wholesale out of your garage. You can sell them out of your garage, but you have to have a tax ID number before we will wholesale to you. Pardon?
Go ahead.
What did I say wrong?
No, you're right.
Now you got me nervous. Did
No,
I say
you were
something
going to
wrong?
talk about the bird that's in the attic.
Oh, I was.
Right?
Okay. Fitzgerald, Mr. Fitzgerald, whether it's Mike or Will, was here yesterday? Day before yesterday. I was supposed to, yesterday he was here. And he bought some birds, some chocolate colored racing on a really top quality. He loved them. And I showed him that they were in a cardboard box. He didn't bring a basket. So I had shown him all before, and he wanted to look at them again, and he opened the flap of one of the boxes, the cardboard box, and lo and behold, boom, here comes one of the birds flying. We have 10-foot ceilings in the store. We must have tried for an hour to try to catch that bird. We just could not do it. So finally I says, we're not going to catch that bird today. I'll tell you what I'll do is I'll come tomorrow, and I'll come when it gets dark, and I'll catch it, and we'll ship it to you. Well, being pushing 80 years old, Jerry went home and sat in his evening chair and was watching the baseball game and fell asleep. I forgot to come last night to get the birds. So what we decided, we put a trap out, and that's leading up to this. Number one, if you ever have that happen, don't put feed and water out for the birds. You'll never catch it. So yesterday the bird wasn't hungry, and it was all over the store. And finally went up to a dropped ceiling, and we couldn't get it. So what we did today, and I was up looking, and just as I stuck my head over the wall where he was just about going into the trap.
Nice.
But I scared him. He'll be in the trap by tomorrow. This is what we used. This is a bird trap. We sell these to companies that catch birds professionally on rooftops, or they go to a warehouse and the birds are making a mess and they want to catch them. This is the trap they buy. The good thing about it is, remember when we were talking about the traps, we talked about training them to go through bobs. It takes a little bit of training. So wild pigeons or loose pigeons don't recognize the bob, look at it as a wall, won't come through it. This is a very unique trap. And what the birds do is you're going to put feed in here. The birds can see straight through. There's no bob or nothing. They walk in and drop in, and they're going to be eating the feed, but when they want to go out, they can't get out. The way the tunnel is built, they have to crouch down and try to get out, but they're not going to be able to do it. It's easy to get in, almost impossible. I've never seen one get out, so you've got the bird trapped. And what I did is I put this trap up, and if you want to get into it just like that, put your feed, put your water. You really don't need water. Feed in here in a cup or something like that. And what I usually do is I sprinkle a little bit here in the opening of the trap where they come in, and they eat the feed and they see there's no problem, and they see some more feed over here. They walk through, they're trapped. So this is one of the other traps we wanted to talk about. All right, okay, that's the trap. And we, of course, have them at foils. Very lightweight, easy to
I
ship.
can't see the question.
All right, anything else we need to talk about?
Yep, there's another question.
Okay. My God, time has flown. Thank you very much for asking the questions. Sometimes we have a pre-show meeting and we wonder what we're going to talk about, and we sure hope we get some questions. And if you want to email after the show during the week, Veronica, it's okay to do it that way, right? So you can email us, or you can even call us or write us a letter, and we'll do our very best to answer the questions. So if you can't Facebook it, whatever you call that. What do you call that when you Facebook the question?
Facebook message.
Face what?
Message.
Tell them.
They know.
Okay.
Kate don't mind him.
All right. So send us the questions. We're trying to answer them for you.
You took the one question down that I didn't see before this, but anyways, Lisa again, she asked, is it hawk safer for my white birds if I don't loft fly and just basket them out for exercise?
Yes. With one caveat in that, number one, they have to be trained. So if these birds have been trained to the distance you want to take them back and let them fly, and if you've trained them to come back in quickly, that's perfect. So when you train your birds, they're always hungry. They've been trained that when they get home, they're going to get a treat. You take your bird down the road, let them go. When they come home, they hit the board, so to speak, and come right in because they know they're going to get fed and watered. But if you haven't trained the birds, it won't work. One of the things I will mention too, anybody that race pigeons, not the white birds for the release, but actually race them along to a club, use a little trick, and I've used it and it works fine. There's something called a dropper. A dropper is just a pigeon that has the ability to fly. It doesn't have to be a racing pigeon. It can be a mixed breed. It can be a common street pigeon. And what you do is you train that bird just like you trained your other birds to come in. And you keep it extra hungry. Maybe you don't feed it the day before. Sounds cruel, but believe me, I ship pigeons all over the United States. And in fact, we're going to ship some pigeons to Sri Lanka. So we ship them all over the world. The birds can go 2 or 3 days without any problem, without feed or water. So don't be terribly concerned. So getting back to the dropper, the bird is extra hungry. You've got your birds came home from a release, and for whatever reason, they've been scared, or for whatever reason, they want to fly around and round, and that's when the hawk's going to hit them. You want those birds to come right in. So you train that dropper. You're outside waiting for your birds to come home. And if you can't do it, a spouse can do it, one of the kids can do it. They see the bird circling, they take the dropper, who's not a racing homer, it doesn't have the muscle to fly that much, you throw it into the air. That dropper will go up, sometimes it'll circle once, usually it won't. It'll go up in the air, whoom, it knows it's time to eat and drink, comes right into your loft, and that dropper was seen by the bird circling. Remember in the beginning of the show we talked about leaders? That the rest of the white birds will see that bird, it'll see it land, walk over and go into the loft, they come right down. So it's something I don't talk much about, but dropper is a good one. I have some, but you don't have to buy one from me. It can be any kind of a bird. It's best not to be a racing homer, because a racing homer will want to go up and fly with the other birds. So it's best to be some sort of a smaller show bird. Mine are, they call them satinets, but they're really not. They're a crossbreed between a satinet and a racing pigeon. Okay.
Arthur asked, what are the sale products of the week? We don't have any new sale products this week, but we do have sale products on our website. So just take a look on there and see what's available.
Would you mention the discontinued and expired products?
Those are also on the, well, it's actually called the clearance on our site. clearances, stuff, products that are expired, a couple months old, and items that we just have on sale, like the baskets from last week, or other products that we are discontinuing and we're no longer going to get. So we're just trying to get them out of stock.
In talking about the discontinued vitamins, supplements, grits, or even medications, I've talked to various veterinarians about this topic, and common sense tells you if today is April 5th and the product expired April 4th, that product is just as good yesterday as it is today. It isn't like a magic number. I truly believe, in my opinion, that that's a good way for you to throw the products away, and the company puts that date on there, and you throw it away and buy some more. Don't do it. I've used products that were a year expired with absolutely no problem. My good friend Dr. Pigeon used to keep it for years and years. He says, that's stupid. You don't throw it away. It's still good. So we sell discontinued products, but we also sell expired products. Don't be afraid to use them. But we can't ship them. If you order from us, we can't ship them to you and have an expiration date on them. So we reduce the price dramatically. So keep an eye on that stuff, and if you see it, don't be afraid to buy it. And you want to answer that question?
Yep. Question, will you be going to a Fremont, Ohio show? We do go to Fremont twice a year. We go in January and we go in September.
Also wanted to mention, and it just passed through my head, went from here to here, and I forgot.
Out?
Yeah, I forgot what. Oh, I know. If you belong to a club, I'm thinking about the Fremont show. We go to Lancaster, we go to Louisville, we go to a lot of shows. If you have a show, and I haven't even passed this by my boss, Kim, and I have good ideas, and they always shoot me down, including Gina and Veronica. I tried to get Veronica to change our program this morning, and she said, or this afternoon, and she explained to me why it didn't work. But she didn't remind me that I've asked her the same question 3 times. But anyway, if you have a show, we would be glad to list it on our website. You give us the information, the dates, the information, anything you want, and we'll put it on our website for you, advertising your show. So be sure to put the contact information. Or if you want to advertise on our website, if you sell pigeon-related products that we don't sell, but if you have ideas or something like that and you want to sell them, or if you're a grain store or a feed store and you want to advertise your feed, we have no problem. There is a cost to that. Call Foy 724-843-6889 and ask for Veronica. She'll be able to get the information from you. If you want us to build a website for you, or if you want to put products on the website, we'd be glad to quote you a cost. By golly, I think we made it through the hour, didn't we?
I have one more thing. In the catalog, just so you know, a lot of people don't know, the last few years, we do have an index in the back. I have a lot of people call and say, well, I don't know what page this product's on. Well, we do have an index, so you can use that.
The reason for that is being a stubborn old crotchety fellow, and thinking I know everything there is to know. For years and years, we did not put an index in the catalog, and I think we've been doing it for the last 2 or 3 now.
3, I think.
And my reasoning for this is just think about it. Now, if you don't have an index, they're going to have to leaf through the whole catalog to find that product, and to me that's good because they might see something else that they want. But I was overruled, and rightfully so, so now we have an index. Well, it's 4 o'clock. Now, what's good about doing this show is we start a couple of minutes early, and if there's information and we have to go longer, I don't mind if we have to go 4 to 4:15. But as as Gina mentioned at the very beginning, we'd be happy to hear from you if you'd like us to do something different or add something to our show. If you want to suggest something, boy, we want to hear from you. We do our very best. I think we're getting better. This is our 9th show. We do the show every 2 weeks, and when's the next date?
April 20th.
All right. Well, thank you very much for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you for the questions you sent in pre-show, and thanks for the questions that you sent. I'm so proud of the fact that we got over 10,000 people visiting us. Thanks. See you in a couple of weeks.